Welcome back to the Coaches Unscripted podcast. I'm your host, Trey Belcher. With me, as always, my tag team partner, Corey Smallwood. How's it going, Corey?
It is going wonderful today, Trey. How are you?
I'm great. Anytime I can be here with you and any guests that we have is always a great day. And with us today is Marc Lebert, a renowned fitness innovator, entrepreneur, and educator, best known as the creator for the Lebert Equalizer, the Lebert Buddy System, and the Lebert Stretch Strap, versatile fitness tools used by personal trainers, gyms, schools, and sports centers worldwide, and one of the most energetic and fun people in the fitness industry. Ladies and gentlemen, Marc Lebert. Welcome in, Marc.
What's up, guys? Thank you. Woohoo. Let's go. Thanks for having me, guys. Really appreciate it.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you for being here. You know, you always do keep the energy up. Anybody that's ever seen you present, has done a hands-on with you, or seen any of your social media knows that it's always fun and it's always wide open. And one of the things that, you know, in watching your stuff and reading bios and preparing for this is your desire to make fitness fun and make fitness accessible for everyone. And I want to just start by just figuring out what the impetus for that was. Where does that come from? It's very psychological, but how did you get to be wide open and fun and desire to bring fitness to the masses?
Wow. You know, I've done many podcasts and no one's ever asked me that. So I think that's an amazing place to start and a great question. I grew up playing sports and I got into fitness and, you know, I've over the years had lots of great friends that we love to party. And I always thought, like, can't fitness be fun? And that's really why I'm so I gravitate towards group fitness, because it's like a party. It's entertainment, you know? And we had at my old gym, this is our new gym, but before this gym, we had an aerobics room that was glassed in. And so the rest of the gym couldn't hear us. And it would fit about 40 people. And we had this crazy stereo. On Monday nights, I would do an hour and a half to 2 hours of boxing. We'd have the lights down and we'd have some mood lighting, and I'd have Rammstein playing and System of a Down and all these crazy things. And for an hour and a half, it was just sheer madness. And as much as I was wild and as much as I thought, you know, I'm only going to attract maybe other guys like me, it was just filled with every age group and fitness level, because they were all there for the show. And I've learned from many over the years just presenting, like Mindy Milray and other people who brought Todd Durkin and so many that just brought the level of energy so high. Martin Rooney, that even though in the beginning I think failed trying to be other people in terms of like, okay, who am I as a presenter? The one thing that I did take as a common denominator from all those people was like, the energy has to be here and you'll just bring everybody along with you. So I do that every day at my club. And even if you're not feeling it, you just fake it. Everybody a big high five or hug on the way in and crank the tunes and let's go. There's no excuse not to bring lots of energy to fitness.
It's all cyclical. We went from bodybuilding to, you know, aerobics to this HIIT style training where everybody was talking about EPOC and people were throwing up after workouts. And now it's back to strength training again, which is great. But there are even consultants out there that are saying group exercise is dead. It's people have called it a red ocean. You're going to lose money. People are now changing their gym models to semi-private only. And I think that's what really was lost, was the fun. It got so hard, or it got there's something called repetition fatigue. You know, when you go to an Orange Theory or an F45 and it's the same thing, or a boot camp place, it's same thing over and over and over again, that it lost the community feel of it. It lost the funness of it. And, you know, like you talked about, group exercise can be a party. Like, come in, you work really hard during the strength sessions, building the muscle and all the benefits that come from strength training, but there still needs to have that big community fun party feel to your gym as well. So how do you see, and you do it at your gym very, very effectively, the balance between the play, what did you call it? The entertainment?
Entertainment.
Yeah, the entertainment. I love that. And the actual strength side of it.
Yeah, again, you know, great question. And, you know, you kind of encapsulated everything I was thinking of over the years of seeing things change. Like, it's funny, if you go to somewhere like I was a few years ago, maybe 6-7 years ago in Trinidad, Tobago, teaching group fitness there. And it was still split between the hardcore weightlifters and the aerobics room with the leotards and everything. So it hasn't really, it hasn't changed like it has here. For me, obviously, if you're going to get your clients in shape, you have to have progressive overload. So my sessions kind of start like 15, 20 minutes of warm up. I know that sounds like a long time, but there's mobility and there's fun music and we're doing lots of high reps and just getting the body ready. I mean, most of my clientele is my vintage now, so we need a long warm up. And then we'll go into, with the equalizers here, we'll go into at least 2 rounds of body weight training, just really getting a lot of full body work, a lot of core work, a lot of just getting to know how to use our body around an implement. Then we'll go into the weight room, which is right here beside me, and we'll lift for about 20 minutes. And then at the end, I'll throw in an element of some intense cardio, some quote unquote HIIT. So we check all the boxes. And then to balance it out, we also have boxing, we have kickboxing, and we have specific boot camp, and we have specific strength and conditioning. So I love teaching the boot camp, and it's really interesting how I think sometimes people think they have to lift kettlebells or heavy weights to get strong, but some of the stuff we do in the boot camps with the calisthenics on the equalizers and the parallettes and other tools that we do are insanely challenging, and I think people sleep on that quite a bit.
Oh yeah, just go pull up any Frank Medrano's videos. You can get really strong doing those things. So
I'm glad you brought that up with the different modalities and the versatility. And that's one thing that you always harp on, especially with the equalizers, is the versatility of them. And there's so many different places you can go. And I know how I use them personally in the gym. I've got Bob, who's 88, and I made a video of this. Bob's on a walker. He's almost died several times and had health issues for years and years and years. So we use them as a way for him to just stand up and build strength that way. And there was another video here recently of the old wrestlers Diamond Dallas Page helping Lex Luger get out of a wheelchair, and he's using Lebert equalizers. And I think there's so much that permeates what your vision is and what your mantra is of fitness for all. And fitness looks totally different, and it doesn't have to be a kettlebell, and it doesn't have to be this, or it doesn't have to be that, but you can use your tool, a tool that you've created for X number of purposes, and they can find different purposes for different people based on where you are. But no matter where you are, there can still be a purpose for that tool.
Yeah, 100%. I think it's amazing how over the years I've seen it being used in so many different ways, like just using it as an assist for someone who, let's say, couldn't do a step back lunge, so that their hands on, so they feel a little taller, more confident, and they can do the work with an assist or just getting out of the wheelchair. I actually had a thought the other day of I used to teach at a seniors facility, and I haven't been there in a while. And I'm thinking of going in there and just using the equalizers as walkers, right? And dress up like an old person and then start cranking out dips and stuff, just for fun. One of my crazy IG videos. But yeah, I have equalizers with them in their chairs. So they use them to help get up out of the chair and back down. And that's actually my absolute number one most favorite community to train. I have so many fun stories around for that age group.
Well, I'm glad you said that. Number one, I have an 85-year-old woman who was doing the step back lunges with the equalizers just yesterday.
Nice.
And also, my daughter's dance recital is coming up next weekend, and we're dressing up like old men, and we need walkers. So my walker is going to be equalizers. So I will be sending you a video of me walking out with my members only jacket on,
all right,
and my lime green equalizers, and I'll make sure to post that and tag you in it.
Let's go. That's awesome.
Now, Mark, how did the evolution of the EQ actually come about? Because people are now seeing them at all the conferences and all the trade shows, but I know that you were doing in-home personal training back in the day. You created the EQ, you created that buddy training system before TRX was even a thing. You're seeing these needs and then building these tools to help fill those needs. So tell us about how the EQ even got started in the brain.
Yeah, well, you hit the nail right on the head there with the in-home personal training and just seeing a need. So I was leaving a client's home and driving to my next session, and inspiration hit me because she wanted to be able to do pull-ups in the door frame. Her husband had a chin-up bar, and she just was deconditioned and way too much. It just wasn't going to happen, right away. And so I asked her if she wanted a lat pull down machine. She didn't want to spend the money and take up that much space in her little home studio. And so I thought, well, why don't I just weld up some ideas? So I called a buddy of mine who works at a steel factory and brought a case of beer over because that's what a good Canadian boy does. And when his shop was closed, we welded up the very first sets of equalizers. And I had all kinds of different heights and widths. The very first ones were actually a triangle. They're connected here and came out. So when you try to do rows, you hit your head on the thing. So you're doing rows. So that design didn't work. But I thought it was kind of a neat design because it didn't take a lot of space. But we opted for, obviously, what we have now. So yeah, just playing with the idea. I took it to the client's home and we started doing rows. And then I was saying, we can do incline chest press. We can do this. And so it started evolving from there.
Are these just ideas that you come in and you say, all right, I'm doing this, or I wonder if this would work, or are other people giving you the ideas? All the myriad ways you can use the equalizers. Are these your ideas? Are they coming all from you? Or are they you finding them on Instagram just like anybody else? I mean, and I realize this is over the course of a long period of time. So there's so many different ways that you can get these things, but where are most of these ideas? Is this just you conjuring these things up in your mind?
Definitely not all me. I mean, the initial probably like 20, 30 moves for me. And then as years went by, we're constantly updating our manuals and our education to show all the different ways you can use them. We've had everything from Lebert to Boot, like a boot camp, to, hit. So we've used them in group fitness. I've seen them in a dance studio. You're saying your daughter has a dance recital coming up. I've seen them in dance studios where they use them for stretching, or they use them in Taekwondo studios for holding onto and throwing high kicks. I've seen them used for just about everything. And sometimes it just blows my mind. I'm like, that's new. Some guy on Instagram literally just tagged me, and I haven't shot them yet, with some cool stuff that he's using them against the wall for, some isometric moves. So yeah, always fun to see the evolution for sure.
I saw a practice one time where it was a youth basketball practice, and they were doing like bounce passes underneath of it. And then the kids would then go and do some exercises with it. And then they would do agility drills around it. I was just like, man, this is like one tool can do so many different things in just this youth basketball practice. I thought just how versatile that one tool can be.
100%. Out on the court, there's so much fun. I've been to many high schools, and the phys ed teachers have me in, and we bring a bunch of equalizers and just train the basketball teams. Wow, just so much fun. Like you said, you can use them for the warm-ups, use them for agility, use them for strength. I get very creative. But yeah, I've seen those videos too. Those are fun, It's like a guard between the legs, pass between the legs.
And a lot of people think that body weight training is easy, or it's easier. And I'll tell you right now, I have some members that are going to watch this and comment. They're going to be like, so that's the guy. All right. Because I'll have those EQs out there and they're just like, God, I got to do they're very, very challenging. So yeah, no, they can really pack a punch. That's for sure in your training.
And it's really easy to scale them too, right? And just lots of different ways you can get creative with, the progressions. It's fun. Very minimal equipment and lots of variety. Definitely. I'm a big fan of it. It's okay.
And we are too here at the Coaches Unscripted podcast.
Apparently you can put "la" in front of anything, and it sounds good and is fun.
That's right. That's amazing.
But that just goes to show. I mean, we had a kids camp here for like 5 to 10-year-olds last year, and we used the equalizers as soccer goals, and we had med balls. We had a med ball, and you were on a plank, and you had to push the ball with one hand. Your knees couldn't touch the ground, and it doesn't have to be the tool that you're necessarily using in hand, but you can incorporate it so many different ways. And I think that's the beauty part of making it fitness for all, whether it's a 5-year-old or an 88-year-old. There's a way that you can figure out, if you're creative enough, if you're an artist, you can figure out ways to do that.
Great transition there, Trey.
Love it.
The one thing
I'm going somewhere with this.
Prior to I met Marc, I think at one of the trade shows. I'd never even seen the EQs before, and I encourage anybody, when you get out to one of the trade shows, to go to Marc's hands-on to experience training with the EQs and the tools that he has created so that you can envision how it's going to be used. Seeing it on some of the videos, it's just, it's kind of like it's a one-use thing, or, oh, that's neat, but how do I incorporate it? And you do a phenomenal job of incorporating it. So I saw Marc, met Marc, and then come to find out that he's a really talented abstract artist. And so I remember over COVID, when we were shut down and we did a Zoom, and we're having a beer at like 8:00 at night, and Marc's taking me through 300 pieces of his art that he has in his garage. And he's just like, what do you think about this? And we're talking art, and one of my degrees is in studio art. And so we have this, and I'm like, oh, this is very much like, have you studied Mark Rothko and Jean-Michel Basquiat? And Mark's like, I have no idea who these people are. And I was like, are you kidding me? You don't know who some of these great, he was like, I've heard of Jackson Pollock, but that's about it.
Yeah.
So untrained art, but phenomenal artist. And that was where kind of we developed our friendship, was not even through fitness, it was through art. So how long have you been doing art, and what's kind of the passion behind art?
Well, it's funny how we related so much on the fitness level and the art level, because before the podcast, we were talking about, we know very few people that do both. We'll have a few select friends. There's like 3 people that I know are really into art and really into fitness. How did I get into it? I was born an artist. I mean, it was always, creativity was always just pouring out of me. I kind of defaulted, like most probably Southern Ontario boys, into playing hockey. I wasn't going to tell my friends when I was young I want to paint. I didn't have the self-esteem when I was a young age, as a young boy, to do that. But it was always in the back of my mind. I remember in university, I took art class, but I didn't tell my friends, and I'd show up and I loved it. And then, just got back into it as the years went by. And it's one of those strange things where I think all artists are like this. We're a little bit manic. I can go in the garage at 8 at night and have a drink and start painting, and I will see the sun come up, and it went by like that. It's crazy. I got to go train clients. And that's really, for me, how it is. I just feel the energy and the ideas just flow through me. Your paintbrush is kind of like an antenna to the universe, and you just flow, and it's so fun. It's one of my favorite things. And my business partner Dave is just over here walking by, and he has a great story, because he took some of my paintings that he bought at one of my shows and brought them to a framer, and the framer had the same kind of questions. Oh, this was reminiscent of this artist and that artist. Who's this guy? What's his inspiration? And David goes, probably vodka, which is true.
It's very good.
I love the creative side of painting and fitness.
Lebert abstract art. Is that
yeah, I don't know. I haven't done anything with my Instagram in probably, I don't know, 5-6 years. But yeah, I'll have to start doing more of the art stuff. Just running the business, it seems to take priority.
Yeah.
Well, I was wondering how you seemingly got all this stuff done. You're creating pieces of equipment, you're running these camps, you're speaking, you're doing all this, and I wondered how you had the time to get all this stuff done, not even knowing about the art, but a glass of vodka and all night, and we figure it out. I got it now.
That's right, and a really good team.
Yeah.
We're coming up on summit season. You're doing your hands-ons. Where are you going to be for the Perform Better Summits?
I'll be at the first one in Chicago. Absolutely love Chicago. Actually, absolutely love that summit. And if we get an opportunity, we'll, have booths at the other summits. But yeah, at least the very first one. And Corey and I will probably be doing some somersaults at some point and having a good time. But yeah, I love, Perform Better is interesting because I met Chris 2005 or something, quite some time ago. And he was at a summit called Ryan Lee's Boot Camp. It was early on, he was one of the first that did fitness and online marketing. And it was a really interesting event that he put on. And he invited me out from Canada. So it was our first US event. I'm like, I don't know, I'll bring 100 sets of equalizers. He's gave me 15 minutes. So in between speakers, I was on the gym floor and I asked people to come out, and I just started like a squirrel on meth. I got to show people a lot of stuff in 15 minutes. After that, we had a booth and we sold about 50 sets, which was probably my best ever sales, 50 sets in 15 minutes. But then we were stuck and we had another 50 sets. And Chris came over, said, saw your presentation, loved it. We'll buy the rest of the sets off you. We're like, oh my God, that's so good, because we didn't want to ship them back to Canada, and started a relationship. And ever since then, you guys know the Perform Better team is the absolute best. And also they've always supported genuine brand name Lebert Equalizers, which is very powerful. We're so thankful for that, because there's a lot of knockoffs and they've always been very loyal to us. And I'll never, ever say anything but amazing things about them. Well, what else is there to say?
You do have knockoffs. I mean, it's not something that could be easily patented. When you encounter these gym owners all the time, great, this is what the Lebert EQ cost me. I can get it for half the price off Amazon. So how do you combat that? How do you, what's the response to that?
First of all, you get what you pay for. The knockoffs are cheap. And, if you're a professional client, do you want to train someone and risk their safety on something that's going to break? So the answer is pretty easy. You don't want to, it's like buying cheap bands, replace them every 2 months, or just buy some good ones and have them for the year, But how do we combat that? To be honest, when it comes to consumers, it's very difficult. A lot of times it's just a race to the bottom and they're just buying a cheaper brand, not knowing that they can do more than dips. So we combat it just with a lot of education, a lot of supplementary products, the trade shows that we do, building a community, which we talked about earlier, and just having lots of great connection with our audience, YouTube videos, lots of free stuff, other things as well. So I created a 28-day Equalizer challenge. And what I said in the challenge was, I don't care if you have our genuine Lebert Equalizers or if you have, someone else's bars, we'll call them, just come with us. So I can always show them. The knockoffs just won't go there. The knockoffs aren't going to educate people. They're not going to give you programs. They're just straight up sell a cheap commodity. So that's kind of what differentiates us and what we have to do.
I think it's a huge and powerful differentiator is the education and training that come along with your product and the trainers community that you have built and all the continuing educations. Again, if you're buying a tool, if you're buying a sandbag, you can buy a sandbag, or you could go with DVRT and learn all of the concepts and training behind it. Same thing with your EQs and the whole Lebert training system behind it.
Yeah, such a great example, because, just going to all the shows, Perform Better summits like yourself, and taking Josh's seminar, for example, I always leave with so many takeaways. And if you go in thinking a sandbag's a sandbag, I don't need to learn anything, I find that happens a lot with equalizers. The two things people always say when they leave our sessions are, I'm humbled because I haven't done this many crazy bodyweight moves in a while. And the versatility was quite astounding and quite surprising to people. And that's the same when I take someone else's session with a sandbag, for example, come out, this is a phenomenal tool and lots of uses.
A tool is just a tool, but the person behind it, whether it's you with the equalizers, Josh with the DVRT, but when you guys are out front and you're in with the people and you're giving yourself, not necessarily selling yourself, but you're just giving yourself, you're being who you are. And when people experience the fun and they experience the wild brand of Lebert fitness, that's going to give credence to all the tools. And people are going to buy in, not just for the tool, but they're buying in to Marc Lebert and what you stand for and what you're about and what you give of yourself and of the education. People are going to buy into that because that's what really matters.
Yeah, I appreciate that. That's, super kind. And the thing is, I know Josh and any other presenters, especially with Perform Better, we never go in thinking, I want to sell. I don't care if people buy it or not. I just want to get in there and show them as many useful ideas as I can. And if they find that, this might be something they want to use, great. But that's just bring the energy, bring the ideas, bring the knowledge, and bring the OG. Apparently I'm an OG now. I'm more of an ODB, really.
Can attest.
Yeah. Corey, you're gonna like this. I'm bringing my son this year to Chicago.
Okay.
Yeah, he's 21. He can drink in the States, and we'll have to show him how it's done.
Torrance making his debut.
He's been to Chicago, but he was like this tall, and now he's like way taller than me. So it'll be fun to have him along.
Yeah, I'll tell a funny. This whole podcast is about stories. Last summit in Chicago. Mark and I are out to eat, and we are sitting beside each other at the bar,
Yeah.
and just getting stuff. And all of a sudden, you just hear the server that's walking back to the kitchen drop everything. I mean, just every single thing falls off her plate. And I turn and look, and she has this shocked, I have never seen a more shocked look on her face. And I look over at her, and then I look at Mark, and Mark is covered from head to hip in ketchup.
And the whitest t-shirt I could find that night.
He is wearing the whitest t-shirt. I am wearing a red shirt. I don't get a drop on me. Misses me completely, goes to Mark. Just covered. And I was like, all right, we'll head back and you can put on a new shirt. He's like, nope, I'm heading to the washroom, which, by the way, is the bathroom. So he goes to the water closet or whatever you call it, takes his shirt off, washes it in the sink, uses the air dryer to come back and puts it back on. And he is full-blown winner of a wet t-shirt contest in this thing. And there's a bachelorette party there, and they come over and are taking pictures with Mark in his wet t-shirt. Absolutely, I was like, what are the chances? He is absolutely covered in ketchup. Whitest t-shirt possible.
Oh my God. Yeah, you know what? I didn't want to go back to the hotel. We were having a great time. I didn't want to put any roadblocks or speed bumps in our night, so we just keep it going. Let's go.
Turn that restaurant into a laundromat real quick.
Yeah. It dried out eventually. A couple of guys came into the washroom and they're like looking at me. I'm like, this is what it is.
Happens. Typical Thursday, you know.
Yeah. I'm gonna bring an extra shirt next. Oh, I'm gonna wear red. What the hell?
Right, that's red.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I guess that's the resourcefulness of a Southern Ontario boy. I guess
that's right. Yeah,
there is such a thing. That's a new one on me.
Yeah, just don't let it phase you either. It's like I could have got upset. I'm like, whatever. It's all part of the fun of the evening. It makes for a good story.
I mean, I learned because I would have been like, that's it, ruined the night. You're covering my bill. I'm out of here. Mark was just like, I'll be back. He's gone like 20 minutes. His food's getting cold. It's like he comes back, pretty much got 95% of that ketchup out and ready for the rest of the night.
That's right.
So you've created so much over the years. Where are you now, and where are we going next? What is the future of Marc Lebert and Lebert Fitness?
That's a good question. Here, I'll grab a piece here. I haven't even showed these to Chris or Perform Better yet. So this is our new Pro Riser. There's actually, believe it or not, a patent on this 90-degree angle because this fits on stairs. So it's a nice piece for, obviously, in an aerobics room as a tool, like a small dumbbell or a push-up bar or for home use. So just new products will be coming out. I have a lot of ideas. This is kind of like the Lebert Lab, and I have about 20 different product ideas. But the thing is, launching a product costs a lot of money. And the last 5 years have just been an absolute disaster with everything that's happened for the fitness industry. And it's affected us greatly. Plus the tariffs right now are very interesting. They're up, they're down. We don't know where they are from day to day. So that's been challenging. So yeah, just going to be really working on building our digital products. So we have a lot of new digital products out for like $14, you can get 13 different Equalizer workouts in a package. We're going to be starting an online coaching group, a membership site, and then obviously more products too. And a lot of the products that we do have, some people aren't even aware. They think of as just the Equalizers, but we have, like Corey mentioned, the HIIT system. We have our new resistance bar, which is really great. I'll bring all these to Perform Better and put them in my session, and we'll play around and show you some cool stuff.
I want to see the banded bar. That looks really good.
Have never been so sore as teaching in front of the group with that thing. And one thing about teaching in front of a group, it's not like you're trying to like you bring the energy up, but you also have to bring the heat. Like if I want people to train hard and they see me in front just dogging it, forget it. I don't even care if they come close to where I'm at. I'm just cracking jokes, listening to music, but I'm steely-eyed determined, At this age, I'm turning 57 in a few days. Wow. So I better keep training hard so I look like, I don't know. My goal is 90 to still be teaching, so we'll see.
Yeah, that's the passion, the purpose, you know. So, and that's the thing when you're up there, as anybody knows, it is exhausting to keep that energy level. But when you see people like you and Durkin and Martin Rooney and Nick
Yeah.
Winkleman and some of those guys that are just the best at the best, you know, to especially when you're coaching coaches.
Yeah.
Right, you know,
Yeah.
you're coaching Sally, and you want to get her to a 7. Well, you only need to be a 9. If you got
Yeah.
you got a room full of coaches that you're trying to get to be a 10, you got to somehow figure out how to be a 12 yourself.
That's right. Yep. 100%. Well, we can get there. We'll see. Maybe this year I'll bring a rubber chicken or something just for the jokes.
I got my own idea.
I feel like Corey and I, we have so many personal inside jokes that no one would get, but that rubber chicken just rears its ugly head every week or so. Corey will send me a new video with a rubber chicken in it.
My members are always like, when I come back from a perform better, they're like, "Oh God, what is he going to unleash on us now?" And this past year, it was the rubber chicken because Mark had, I don't know, 12, 15 of these, and we were doing push-ups on the EQ, but you had to get low enough to make the rubber chicken sound. And there's nothing like having 40 people in a room and you just randomly hear these rubber chickens going. It was the funniest thing. So I bring this back. I ordered them on Amazon. So when I returned, I had a bunch of these rubber chickens. And
Amazing.
I was like, all right, everybody, we're doing push-ups. And I put down these rubber chickens, 40-year-old, 50-year-olds. They
Yeah.
are dying laughing. And it's the most fun thing. So now when we do push-ups, I have one or two members that are like, will you go get the chicken? And I'm like, yeah, I'll go get the chicken. And so then my newer members are like, this guy's crazy. This guy's a nut. But they use chickens. And I've had purple ones. I got a little pig. Like now it's a whole barnyard in here for my fit. But again, that's the fun coming full circle. That's the fun that needs to happen back with fitness. They're not getting that at an Orange Theory. They're not getting that
No, they're not.
at an F45 or a boot camp or something like that. And they're not getting it at a traditional gym anymore because, especially in our type of gym, these training gyms, they're typically young male owners who know nothing about group programming. They know strength training. They know how to lift heavy. They know how to deadlift and all those things. But to bring fun to a group fitness session, they just don't know anything about it. So it becomes boring. It becomes monotonous. It becomes repetitive. And that's where, you know, gyms like yours flourish because it is new, it's unique, it's fun, it's energized. We do the strength training, we lift really hard, but on the other days we do all these fun boxing and boot camp and all that type of stuff. So that's where the chicken comes in.
100%. 100%. It is like one's funny and it does, you're right. Like the members they get conditioned to that positive feedback. But several of them, it's just, I don't care who you are, you're going to laugh. It's just impossible not to.
That's right.
You wouldn't do it for whole class, but for a little bit, it's fine.
We've talked from minute one about how you are one of the most fun people, and fun has nothing necessarily to do with fitness. Fun is a very human thing, and ways to connect with people and to build the bridges and just have this esprit de corps, if I can borrow a French Canadian term. I had a bunch of people. My 6 a.m. crew is like that. They're an older crew. You're almost 57. A lot of them are in that same age range. Not to say that it's an age specific thing, but once you get to a certain point in life, you get very comfortable with who you are, and you don't worry about embarrassing yourself or making fun or having fun. It's all about enjoying your life and enjoying where you are. And I've got a 23-year-old girl who had just started, and she came in with the early morning crew, and it's just like that. It is, everybody's making fun of each other. We're having a good time. It's all playful. It's all fun. It's like a family atmosphere. And she's not used to that. And I said, this is the vibe. This is what I was trying to explain to you, but you can't explain it. You just have to feel it. And she said, I'm so used to coming in with my headphones on, doing my workout, keeping my head down. You said, I love this. This is great. But it has to be fun, and you have to make it fun. And when you have fun and when you let your guard down, you get trust, you get buy-in, and then you can go do whatever you want. You can be as versatile or as wild, or you can bring out the rubber chickens or whatever you want. and just build the community and enjoy everything and get people where they want to be with their fitness, but do it in a really fun way.
100%. Could not agree more. Yeah. And it's fun to see the different age groups come together in the classes. My daughter, for example, my son's used to me, grew up with me, but my stepdaughter, for example, she's very cognizant of how she looks in public. So if I wear a bunny suit to go vote, she's like just beside herself. What's going on? Please don't. But it's good for them to see that.
I look forward to your Instagram posts every Easter. I'm like, Easter pops up. I was like, all right, let's see what Marc's doing today.
I was going to hang up the bunny suit, and then somebody asked if I was going to do it because their kids were waiting for it. So I did it. But it's maybe next year something different. We'll figure it out. But the Equalizer bunny, not the Energizer. It's my little thing. Yeah.
And it's always more fun for other people's kids than your own kids.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. That's so true. We're not embarrassed. Yeah.
So we the pro risers. I saw the Instagram post. I guess it was yesterday that you just put them out about for the stairs. So that's the new thing. You got several other things in development. How you got anything that's really close to coming out, or is everything just in its development stages?
We have a lot of working prototypes on new products, but again, just the pressure of the last 5 years have slowed down any growth in terms of launching new products. Because people think it's just really easy to launch a product. But when you look at, okay, you got to get the prototypes done and tested. You got to shoot the videos, create the content, take the pictures, build the website pages, start to get the notifications out to all distributors and the price list. I mean, there's just endless amount of things to do to launch it. And then if it doesn't do well, just blew $250,000. If it does do well, you better be careful because they're going to knock you off. So it's kind of a catch-22. So we're slow rolling this one out, and it's doing really well. We're really happy with that. So, we'll see. Maybe before the end of this year, we'll get one more, maybe two more out. One thing that we are doing is kind of broadening, because you asked what Lebert Fitness is up to. We are now and I'd be remiss if I didn't share this with you guys, because I think Corey knows, we are now the 9-round master franchisor for Canada. 9-round is a fitness kickboxing franchise based out of South Carolina. They have about 600 locations worldwide. We have about 25 here in Canada, and our job is now to service the existing stores and grow the brand in Canada. So really exciting times for that.
Do your people in the gym test your prototypes, or is that all you? Do you try these things with people that you trust or people that you know can handle it? How do you go about testing your prototypes?
Yeah. We have a really great base here. The other trainers, the owners, my brother's a trainer, members. Yeah, we can throw it in front of all kinds of different people, and that way we can make sure. The worst thing you can have with a prototype is recalls, so you make sure it's like bulletproof, and then from there make sure it's doing what you want it to do. And always great to have feedback, collecting lots of feedback and make a decision based on that. I must get an email a week on what to do with the equalizers. Sometimes you don't want the feedback.
You know what would make this better?
Oh yeah, that's one I get all the time. And then the side note is, so when you do this, make sure I get the royalties. Like they're kind of wink, wink, joke, joke. It's like, well, I'm probably not going to do that. And even if I did, how many do you think we're selling? How much money are you making?
Here's your $1.74. Thank you very much.
Exactly.
Now, with your deal with 9-round being the Canadian representative, what does that mean for you? How are you operating within that 9-round world? Yes,
we have a long-standing vendor relationship with them, with our equalizers, and they have our hit system in all their locations worldwide. They, self-admittedly, they weren't doing a great job with boots on the ground here in Canada. It's hard to manage from South Carolina at all the Canadian locations. So we've been out to all the locations. We've talked to all the owners, working on helping out in other ways, i.e. we have a warehouse here in the gym that holds all the 9-round equipment. So when they order, it doesn't have to pay huge customs. So they'll make more money on the stuff they're selling in their stores. The brand's really strong, and the systems they have in place are very robust. And so we're just helping the owners with the ones that need help with really implementing some of those things, and any support we can offer them. We have some really high performers, like out in Winnipeg. This guy Brent has 3 locations and just crushing it. So getting all this, and there's some here in Toronto area doing the same. Now, on this particular location where I'm sitting, this is going to be a Lebert Fitness boot camp side of the gym with our strength and conditioning and boot camps. And the other side, which is currently boxing, is going to be our 9-round head office store location. So it's going to be both our head office and our first corporate store. So that's going to be turned into a 9-round tomorrow. The construction company's coming to give us a quote, and then hopefully in 2 months we'll have a big launch party for 9-round here. So yeah, lots. Not like I didn't have enough to do.
It was funny because Trey, you were saying how, like, I wonder where Mark was finding all the time to do all the things, and in the back of my mind, I was like, we haven't even talked about him being a master franchisor of 9-round, and so yeah, he's got that also on the plate.
Yeah, well, full disclosure, David runs 9-round and Andre on our team. They do most of the 9-round work. I'm just here for the trainings and building the brand in terms of finding new franchisees and that kind of thing. So it's thankfully not a massive amount of work on my plate, but yeah, it's fun. We're excited, really excited to grow it here.
Awesome.
Nice. All right, now, very important question.
Oh,
are the Leafs going to do it this year?
Oh, oh my God. Oh, well, first of all, my last name is Lebert, so I'm a Montreal Canadiens fan. It's tied 2-2. I think they play tonight or tomorrow night, but
they play tomorrow night.
So they have a lot of depth. They really shored up the defense. Their goaltender's out, but Wall's kept them in the game last game, and they got a lot of scoring power. If we can get those guys to, and they got 3 solid lines. The third line's doing well. Pacioretty, ex-Canadiens captain, hitting everything that moves. They can compete with skill and toughness, I think, this year. So it's a toss-up. It's 50-50. I don't know. For Leafs fans, I pray to God. Yes, 1967 was the last time they won the Cup. It's just the temperature here is, you talk to a Leafs fan, which I'm not, but I mean, obviously based on geography, I'm loving this series. You talk to a Leafs fan and they won't even talk to you. They're like, I can't, I'm so traumatized over all these years. I'm just going to watch and be quiet. And pray to God.
Don't jinx it.
No. Yeah. So who knows? That's a great question. No idea.
We would be remiss if we didn't have a Canadian on and talk about hockey a little bit.
Right.
I agree with Montreal. Jenna and I, we went on our honeymoon in Montreal several years ago. Nice. So I love Montreal. Yeah. But being in Toronto area, I had to talk about the Leafs. I think the hockey question is probably a good place to wrap it all up, and hopefully we'll all catch up in Chicago. I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it, but I'm trying to talk the boss lady into coming with me up there for a day or so.
Oh, nice.
And if I can bring her, she might let me out of my cage, but I'm definitely going to be in Providence, but hopefully I'll be in Chicago too.
But you just have to know, which I didn't find out until a couple days ago, that Sunday is Father's Day. So you got to plan around that. So I told my daughters, I said, do you mind if it's Father's Day, I'm traveling. They're like, when's Father's Day? I said, any Sunday we want it to be then.
Yeah, exactly.
If you got nothing planned, we're good. We can do it the following, and do it before, whatever. So, yeah.
Well, I'm thinking like Thursday, Friday, and then being back for the weekend, so it won't even be an issue.
Not an issue.
If the boss goes for it. So
Great.
We'll see. I'll keep you guys updated on that thing.
Let us know if you need us to send a message or anything.
Random flowers show up at your place.
She'll say, who is Marc Lebert? And I'll say,
it's not important.
He's our favorite Canadian.
Yeah. Check out episode number
19.
So 19. Check it out.
19. All right.
Yep. We've been putting in some work here at Coaches Unscripted HQ.
That's really good.
So, yeah, everyone gets better and everyone is more fun, and we can't thank you enough for coming on and joining us, Mark. It's been a lot of fun, as we knew it would be with Marc Lebert on here.
My pleasure, guys. Thanks so much for having me, and hopefully see you in Chicago. I know for sure we'll get together, Corey, and can't wait.
Yep.
Well, we thank you for joining us on the Coaches Unscripted podcast. We hope today's stories have inspired and empowered you. Please connect with us on Instagram at Coaches Unscripted Podcast. Give us a like, follow, comment, and share to continue the conversation. Stay updated for future episodes. Follow Marc Lebert at Marc_Lebert and at Lebert Fitness. Thank you again, Marc, for joining us. From Marc Lebert and Corey Smallwood, I'm Trey Belcher. Keep coaching from the heart and building strong communities.